my name is X, and this is the second episode of How to Play IL-2 Sturmovik 1946. In this episode, we'll be covering stalls, spins, how to get into them, and how to get out of them. Before I get into showing you the footage of me spinning and stalling my aircraft, I want to make you understand what a spin and a stall is. To put it simply, a stall is when your wing cannot produce sufficient lift to keep your aircraft airborne. What will happen then is that the aircraft will drop out of the sky, and if you don't do anything about it, it might develop into a spin. We have the luxury of being able to bail out, but I want to show you how you can get out of these spins without having to do so, and then continuing to fight. Alright, so I'm in my Focke-Wulf 190D9. Before we begin, I'd like to go through stalls and how you recover them a little bit. There are two main categories of stalls. There's the power on stall and power off stall. I'm going to show you the power on stall first. Now, as I climb, you'll see that my airspeed decreases. What will happen is that when I go too slow, my wings won't produce enough lift to keep me in level flight, or in stable flight, even though my engine is running at a fairly high power, about 90%. This is called a power on stall. Now, once my aircraft starts stalling out, what you want to do is quickly recover. You can see that I got vapor trails now, which indicates that I am flying inefficiently, which will then often be followed by a stall. The aircraft is now becoming difficult to control, and I need to keep using my ailerons and rudder to keep it stable in flight. And there we go, left wing drops first. That is the power on stall. And I'll show you power off stall. It's basically cutting the power and just keeping the airplane level for as long as you can. If you don't recover from the stall before it develops, then you might enter a spin, and I'll show you this now after I've done this power off stall. The Focke-Wulf 190D9 is a fairly stable aircraft, and I do recommend that you try doing it in it, as it is also a very effective aircraft. Other aircraft that you might want to try is the Spitfire Hurricane, BF-109, P-40, P-51. So my aircraft now wants to dive. You can see that the right wing is starting to drop. I need to use aileron to keep it stable. As I pull back on the stick to keep it in level flight, the right wing drops. There we go. It's a power off stall. But you can see now that both times that I stalled, I recovered. I done the opposite of what the aircraft wants to do. Whenever my right wing dropped, I would push a bit left and let the nose drop a little. When the wing dropped to the left, I would push right aileron and drop the nose a little bit, just to pick up enough speed so that the wings can produce enough lift. What happens if you don't do this? What happens if you keep pulling back on the stick and don't let it recover by itself, or you help it recover? I will show you that now. So I'll burn off some airspeed. Now we're about to stall. The aircraft is becoming sluggish. As I pull back on the stick to keep it level, you see the airplane starting to shake. The right wing is starting to drop. I'll try and keep it stable, but I can't. And the aircraft starts rolling very violently. If I now keep pushing back on the stick, the aircraft will just keep on doing this. This is what it looks like from the outside. Not a very pretty sight, is it? And you can notice, if you notice, we drop altitude very quickly. Now, this is not the time to panic. We still have plenty of altitude, however, we want to be quick and efficient. So what you want to do is let go of the stick, keep it neutral, then push it all the way forward. Keep in mind that the throttle needs to be all the way back, so ensure that it is, and do opposite rudder. We're spinning to the right, so I'm going to kick the rudder to the left. An aircraft comes out of the spin very easily. Now you want to keep gaining some airspeed and slowly pull back on the stick. You don't want to panic. If you panic, this will happen, and you'll enter another spin, or another stall. So forward on the stick, left rudder as we're spinning right, and aircraft will recover by itself. It's mandatory that you do this. Some aircraft are more difficult than others to do this, some are easier. Focke-Wulf is fairly easy to do it in. But an airplane like, for instance, ME-262 can be quite difficult to recover, as it is a very heavy airframe. If you have any questions, please do ask for clarification in the comments. I am always available for help. It's very difficult to portray stalls and spins on a screen, but I hope you learned the basics so you now can practice on your own and maybe become a professional at recovering from stalls and spins. I highly recommend that you do check out articles about them and read up how they work and how the airflow and aerodynamics work with them. Also, do keep in mind that stall characteristics change at altitude and weather. If you're at high altitude, your airplane has a tendency to stall out a little bit easier than, for instance, at lower altitude. This has to do with air density. If you have any questions, as previously stated, please do comment. I'll be available most of the time, and I'll try to help you. This concludes this episode fully. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe.